Ty spent a lot of time the last week to 10 days really keeping track of these turkeys on the farm. It's a farm we're really familiar with. We've hunted a lot together over the last 10 years, but we've never gotten a double, so we're trying to set this up to see if we can't pull off the double.
Yeah, baby! Double trouble!
That happened really fast.
Couldn't be happier. Be able to put a good shot on, and I got a season coming up in a couple of weeks.
That's why it's my favorite spot. Man, that was awesome.
So today I decided to put the decoys up closer to the fence, and it worked like a charm. He came right through onto my side and gave me an easy 20-yard shot, and the rest is history. April the 3rd, and got my first bird of the year.
Well, us three stooges just got in the blind, and I think we got in clean. We didn't hear any turkey spook or any sign of life. So what we've got here is about an acre of alfalfa that's on top of this ridge. And it's been one of the best spots that I've ever turkey hunted. You ready? Remember 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Bang! Double.
First turkey, first longbeard.
That is the best case scenario. That's actually Braden's very first longbeard. That's Mitchell's very first turkey ever. And I don't know how you could plan out a hunt any better than that.
I want some more nuggets.
Me too.
Welcome to third season, Illinois, and we just knocked down a bird this morning, right off the roost. Boy, it doesn't get much more fun than this. All right, 5th season South Zone here in Illinois, and we've been going after these birds on this farm since day one. Late season success here in southeast Nebraska. Had a great hunt.
Morning. It is the first day of turkey season down here in Kentucky. It's open KU season. Katie's up to bat. One's hit too. You know what that's called, Austin? That's called a double.
We doubled, buddy. We got him.
How cool was that?
Hey.
You want to go see the other one? Okay. Probably all three, at least 3-year-old birds.
You got turkey, baby?
Yeah.
Good job, bud!
We were just calling to let you know we'll let you go because we'll be home here in probably a half hour or so.
Okay.
Tell my bye, love her.
Bye.
Push your button.
I love you.
Love you, Mom.
Push your button.
She hang love you for me.
got this bird gobbling. I think he was the one that was roosted right above us. He's up the hill a couple hundred yards, and our setup is a couple hundred yards back. We decided to come up here and try to call at him. He's hot, he keeps hammering. But we like our setup down here, so we're gonna try to call him down to us. I just don't know, he might be with hens, but he's definitely gobbling a lot. Might try to close the distance a little more and see if we can draw him in. That's crazy.
Smoked it, man.
He was less than 10 yards right here, just on a string. And Cooper and I we've been running back and forth trying to figure out which bird we can get on. We came back down to our original setup, and these birds hammered. There's still more back here, but we eventually got them. I think they're grouped up a little bit, but we eventually got this one to break free. Obviously, we couldn't ask for anything better. He just walked right by our setup, occupied by the decoy, able to get drawn, tagged out. Another fun hunt this morning. You can hear that bird just hammering behind us. Unfortunately, I'm tagged out, don't have another tag, otherwise we'd be going after him too. But we had to move around a little bit. Eventually came back to the spot where we started, and we pretty good just coming in here blind and not really knowing where to set up. So another fun hunt with Cooper, and it was a fun spring. Looking forward to getting ready for deer season now.
Jared's turkey hunt from this morning took place in the valley that's right behind me. And this is a spot that brings back a lot of memories for me. Over the years that I've owned this farm, I've seen so much deer activity down in that valley, but it's been so hard to hunt. I mean, there's been so many tempting opportunities to go down in there and put tree stands up, and then I almost always get busted. And you know, it's just a never-ending process of educating deer down there. In fact, one of the hunts that I remember the best from down there, well, I shouldn't say the hunt, the deer that was living down there, was a buck that I called the double G4 buck. He had about a 20-acre home range by the time he was the age I was hunting him most, which was age 6 and 7 for the deer. He went through a little bottleneck down in that valley, not 40 yards from where Jared shot that turkey, every single afternoon for at least a week in the end of October in 2012. I had trail camera pictures of him going through there at 4 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 4 o'clock. And it would have been so tempting, and it was very tempting, to go down in there and put a tree stand up, because he was going through this little tube, we call it the tube, this little tube crossing on this ditch. But I knew that if I did that, that I was going to probably mess it up. It was going to be a one and done. I was either going to kill him, or he was going to pick up the fact that I was hunting him. And then this deer that was so visible and acting, you know, so killable, would take a 180-degree turn in his personality and become so much harder to kill. So I stayed out of there and hunted him on the ridges nearby where the wind was more predictable, more controllable. I ended up killing him on, I think it was November 2nd or 3rd, about maybe 200 to 250 yards away from that narrow crossing that we call the tube. It's just an example for me of spots that you can't hunt. There are some places on every farm that you just should not hunt, no matter how tempting they are. It's sort of like the siren call. I can't remember what the Odyssey maybe was that book, and the sirens would call the sailors to their death on the rocks. All that deer sign down in these valleys just calls you to your death as a deer hunter, because you get in there and the wind swirls. Even getting to and from those spots is really tough because you're having to go past bedding areas. So just avoid some of these super tempting spots, and that's actually going to make your season more productive. It's going to last longer. You're going to have more opportunities to kill some of these deer rather than going for the one and done. I did make some changes to that valley now where I can hunt it, and I have been down in there over the past few years. I put the redneck blind in there, and as long as I keep the windows closed in that blind, I can get away with a lot. The wind swirling doesn't seem to affect the deer quite as much. They don't pick me up, and when I do open windows, I just keep the ozonics unit on, and that kills as much human scent as possible. So that's the only way I've found where I can hunt these valleys with any hope of keeping the deer from knowing that I'm there. Next, we're going to join Josh Sparks as he profiles one of his favorite patches of public hunting ground.
Well, good morning, guys. Today's April 26th, and myself and my friend Collins are out here doing a little bit of turkey hunting this morning on a piece of public close to home. This is actually the same piece of public that we hunted in 2017. You know, that was when I was first starting to familiarize myself with hunting public land, and over the last few years, you know, I've kind of developed a system that's worked for me. It's at least given me some opportunities and allowed me to encounter some pretty nice deer. And that leads me to my first point of, you know, finding a place to hunt, and that's entry and access. On this piece particularly, we use a boat to access. We slip in through these big coves, and then we'll go up these little valleys, and that typically can place us right on top of these oak flats, you know, right where they pinch down. That's actually what we're doing right now for this turkey that's gobbling up here, but this is the same oak ridge that we ran cameras on this past year, and there's a really big 10-pointer that Collins and I have a couple years of history with. Our buddy Caleb was hunting him too, but we found his match set back in 2017, and then 2018 we filmed him past summer, multiple pictures of him during October and November. We're actually going to get after this turkey now. We got these tom tracks leading right up on top of that oak ridge, but once we get up there, we'll cover a couple of the things we're looking for up there. But hopefully he keeps gobbling, and we'll see you then. There's those birds. All right, guys, it's about 11 o'clock, and Collins and I just got done working on that bird, and we got our butts whooped, unfortunately. The plan worked out exactly how we were hoping. We used that cove, snuck in here at the boat, went up this ditch, and you know, like I talked about, this is exactly how we access for deer hunting. That bird ended up coming to 50 yards and eventually just worked off and wouldn't commit. So came over to this oak flat, and right now below me, if I pick all these up, we got just tons of oak leaves and actually deer hair. We ran cameras in here pretty heavy in October and got multiple bucks on camera, and Collins didn't hunt too far away from here, and it would have been mid-October, and he encountered another mature buck. And basically why I'm telling you this is a spot they ended up finding. You know, I talked about, number one, access. We found a big cove we can access. There's a ditch that comes right up to this ridge. So once we got in here, this past October when we ran cameras, this lit up with rubs, and we figured it makes sense just because all these acorns, I mean, this is just one of the trees, and got a ton of pictures, you know, so it worked out. We just didn't hunt it very much, but I think this is going to be a spot that we can kill a buck next year. I also really like this spot because right now we came out here on it's got a northwest wind today, and it's a very consistent spot. It blows right into the water. So when we're calling, you know, if I'm hunting this on a northwest wind, I'll probably set up midway down this ridge. So if that buck does come try to get downwind of me, we're gonna be able to ideally get a shot either way. So, you know, this is very similar to what I did in October last year when I killed that buck, and it was a completely different area. You know, my steps that I've, you know, over the years kind of figured out have started working for me. I start with a map. I find a spot that I want to check out, look for topography change, whether that be a spot looks like big ridges are, or there's a creek bottom, or in this case, we've got the cove that comes in, and then we've got the little ditches that lead up to these big points. Once we get in there, I'm gonna look for food, you know, whether it be mass crop and acorns, whether it be browse, and then if scrapes or rubs have popped up. And then obviously running cameras was huge for us, and that's been part of my strategy. We did run the Cuddy Link system on this particular ridge actually this past fall, and you know, it was really slick just because we put the home camera, you've heard Jared talk about it a number of times, you know, it does a daisy chain. So we ran cameras through this entire ridge and peninsula, and we were able to check it down in the cove. We never even had to step foot up here, and that's what gave us the intel that the bucks were really starting to use this heavy. And really is going to lead into one of the decisions why I'm going to hunt here quite often this coming fall. You know, I did live 2 hours away this past fall, and you know, that's what we're going to be doing, is continuing to find more spots. You know, the more spots we can put in our back pocket, the better. I'm definitely looking forward to this coming fall. You know, talking about all this stuff is just getting me more and more excited. You know, reflecting on the pictures we were able to get here this past season. Really hoping to catch up with that Big Ten, but in the meantime, plenty of months until October 1st, so just going to spend it scouting, and we're going to continue turkey hunting here for the next couple of days, and hopefully get a bird down, but just looking forward to this coming season. Can't wait for it.
Well, that's it for this week. I appreciate you joining me. We'll see you right back here again next week for the next episode of Midwest Whitetail, and remember to always dream big.